Hey you, and welcome to A Study in Chaos. My name is Kat. I p- help. I don't know what I was just trying to say, but I do a bunch of stuff as Cat's Chaos Cafe on the internet. I publish stuff under Cat Leo. Yeah, that's a thing I do. And today, let's talk about fan fiction. So my writing origin is kind of set based in fan fiction. Just so sorry. My very first fanfic was published or posted on July 12th in 2012. So I was 14 years old when I posted my first fanfic. I posted it on fanfiction.net. I think I had been reading fanfiction for maybe a year or so at this point. Um, and it was a Vampire Diaries fanfic. I had gotten really into the Vampire Diaries, and so I started writing fanfiction. And the very first fanfic, it is not good, in my personal opinion. For the fact that I was 14, it's fine. But I'm like, it is not. I have definitely changed as a writer. But it was the starting point of me gaining the confidence in myself to begin to write original characters, which then traveled into creating my own world building and creating my own stories. If it was not for fan fiction, I would not have published a book at any point in time. Probably. If I had, maybe it could have happened, but it would have been way, way, way farther down the line. My book that I did publish, by the way, I also think is not that great. There's a lot I want to change about it. And I probably will when I get back to it. But fan fiction. I wrote Vampire Diaries fan fiction. Then I wrote a Gallagher Girls fanfic. I did Vampire Diaries crossed over with Vampire Diaries because if you watched the show, it is way different from the books. The only thing in common is the character names and that there's vampires involved. And honestly, they are so completely different. In the books, the vampires, Stefan and Damon, are at least 500 years old. In the show, they're only 100, they're under 200. Um, in the show. The ships are different in the books, like canon and just general fandom shipping are different. They're the subtext for some romances are not subtext at all. Like they actually do kiss. They do have like certain relationships. But they're not like true official relationships type of thing. Um, so I was like, there's so many differences. Like these are not the same world. Vampire Diaries, the books, and Vampire Diaries, the show, are completely different. Maybe one day I will, because I do want to reread all my L.J. Smith books. Maybe I will reread the Vampire Diaries and then also rewatch the series. And I'll like maybe do like a series of um podcast episodes and or videos going over those things because they are so different. I'm sure somebody has done this, but it's another perspective, I guess, from the matter. I, in the books, ship Damon. I ship Bonnie and Damon in the books. I do not ship Elena and Damon in the books at all, actually. There are some parts where, I'm like, yeah, I see it. I get it. But also, I don't ship it. But in the TV show, I did ship Delano. Um, but there are some other I have feelings and opinions. Like looking back also, because I was 14 in 2012. Um, I am now 27 at the time I'm recording this, so I have grown and changed drastically. And it's always fun to me to try and reread things that I enjoyed back then and be like, do I still feel the same way as I thought I did? Or do I have drastically different thoughts on how things are? And so I think I might do that. I might give that a go. When did the Vampire Diaries TV show come out? The Vampire Diaries TV show, the first episode date was September 10th, 2009. So the show had not come out yet when I started reading Vampire Diaries for the first time. And I actually started with book 3 and 4, I think, because me and my cousin got it at the library where she lived, because I was spending a couple days there, and we both just binge read it. But we didn't realize it was books 3 and 4 when we checked it out, because there were no numbers on it, y'all. Please, if you're gonna publish a book, please, please, I'm begging you, put it on the cover. Because I was like 10, by the way. I was like 10, 11 when I read the Vampire Diaries books for the first time. And they are, I want to say they're considered, um, YA, but I don't think I was old enough quite yet for YA. Let me double check what, yeah, it's a young adult vampire fiction. I do not think I was old enough yet to be reading those when I read them. My cousin was also not quite old enough, and she's 2 years older than I am. So, no, she would have been like, it would have been age appropriate for her to read, I feel like. But I feel like it also was not age appropriate for me to read. Um, but also, it was one of my steps into vampires, and I love vampires. It is not the first step. I watched Van Helsing way too young. The Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman in it. Um, I watched people get murdered. Like my favorite shows, my comfort shows and stuff as a child were like NCIS, Criminal Minds. I did like watch a lot of actual kids shows, but also I watched like I also Golden Girls is like my top tier, like one of my favorite things. So like I watched Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Sweet Life on Deck. I did watch those. Don't get me wrong. But I jumped from those to shows about murder, procedural dramas, stuff like that. Like that's such a weird combination of the things I watched growing up. I also watched a lot of wrestling as a child and a lot of random ass documentaries. And my dad and I spent time, like, my dad worked a lot. So sometimes the only time he had to spend with us was like when we were getting ready for bed. So we would watch random documentaries, which is one of the reasons I like history, is sitting there watching random documentaries with my dad. Back to fan fiction. But I felt that the Vampire Diaries books and the TV show were so drastically different that I did crossover fanfics for them. And I did differentiate like the changes I made, like which Bonnie I had, which Elena, which Meredith. Meredith Fell is not Meredith Fell in the books. Like the main trio was not Elena, Bonnie, and Caroline in the books. Caroline was the mean girl. And a sort of friend, sort of ex-friend to Elena. So in the books, the main group was Elena, Bonnie, and Meredith. Also, Elena was a B. Okay, she was a B. Also, her and Catherine were sisters in the books. But like 500 years removed sisters, which is wild, but like that's a thing. Sometimes I erase that from my memory. But they did just look really similar as well. They were identical like they are in the show. Doppelgangers were not a thing in the book. I definitely want to do I really want to reread all of L.J. Smith books. I own almost all of them, but I do not own all of them. Most of them, though. I am an L.J. Smith's fangirl, and may she rest in peace. Um, but yeah, so fanfic. I started with Vampire Diaries fanfic. I did a Gallagher Girls one. I got into Arrow for a while and wrote Arrow fanfic. I was a Felicity shipper, but also I don't think we ever saw Felicity and Tommy interact, but I ended up reading fanfic and I was like, I ship it. Agreed. I absolutely 100% ship it. We lost it. We should have got that. We should have got Tommy and Felicity. They would have been great together. Um, and then so I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 fanfics. I have 13 fanfics on fanfiction.net. That is not what I have on AO3. So on AO3, I currently have 17 works. Some of those are what I also have on fanfic.net. But then some of them are not. Also, I have way too many fan fictions that I have not completed writing. And sometimes, if I'm not logged in on AO3, I'll just read. I won't even read titles sometimes, and I'll just end up on my own fanfic. And I'm like, fuck. I love it, but I'm the asshole who hasn't updated in 6 years. What is wrong with me? I was in college. That was part of what was wrong. And I'm just a chaotic gremlin. It wasn't there. Also, sometimes I feel like it is so hard to go back into a fanfic that I started writing so long ago because I have changed so much. One as a person and two as a writer. So it's gonna be super super drastic when I go back and finish some of those. So one day I do want to go back and finish all of my work in progress fanfictions, but also it's gonna be real weird because one, I have to reread them because it's been a hot minute, and second, um, my writing has changed. Like my writing style in general has changed. I feel like, um, I feel like I have started to develop an actual writing style now, that I have been writing more. So yeah, there's that. I'm not going to record yet the episode. I'm gonna have an episode where I just talk about um my current works in progress on fan fiction and maybe into specific fanfics. But this is my rambles about Vampire Diaries and fan fiction and how I got the confidence to become a writer episode, I guess. Oh, on AO3, I have a random I had an idea because I was watching NCIS, but I was trying to work on a Vampire Diaries fanfic, and then I had a crossover moment, and I was like, oh no. Also, I'm a borderline crackfic writer, I feel like, but I'm not sure if others would consider what I write crackfic. I'm like a borderline without, it's serious, but not quite crackfic. Maybe I'll explain terminology of fanfiction one day as well. There's a lot of maybe one days things I've got listed in my brain for potential episodes. So there's that. Um, yeah. So thanks for listening to my chaos. This is only about under 15 minutes, but that's fine. I will catch you later. What chaos did you create today?